Well, hey now. Welcome to Fitz's Electric Bar. Look, there's an angel. I watched last night Long Cut Chris, his video about fall records, music for the autumn. And I always like these kinds of themes. I like themes around sad music or breakup albums. And I think I've done a rainy season selection of records way back when at the beginning when I started my channel. But I'm going to join this. Chris hasn't really presented this as a thread, but I'm going to jump on it anyways. So these are some selections, just a small number of records that I had fun kind of thinking about. You know, these are my kind of some of my autumnal records, and there are many, many more, but here we go. So first thing is, what makes it for an autumnal record? Well, you know, they often say with films, you know, that in the summer you get the blockbusters, you know, you get the Marvel superhero movies and stuff like that. In the fall, for the film festivals, it tends to be more serious fare, more thinking, more maybe emotive, deeper kind of maybe looking at your life, figuring things out, trying to understand things, philosophical, let's say. And I think for me also, the autumn presents an opportunity for a little more melancholia. So I think of spring and summer as being more kind of upbeat and poppy and energetic. And I think of autumn and winter as being a little bit more somber, can go so far as dirge-like, but a little more somber, a little more reflective, that kind of thing. So here are a few selections. I don't want to make this too long. One CD here, John Cale. Sometimes a title just presents itself as part of the theme, and that would be Fragments of a Rainy Season, John Cale. I think John Cale himself really, a lot of his music's very autumnal in nature. Maybe it's the Welsh and the rain and all that kind of stuff, but this is an excellent autumn record. Sufjan Stevens. Most of his music, I think, could fall in this camp. This particular record, deeply personal, very emotional, and I think this is a perfect autumnal record as well. Just works all the way through, talking about his family life, his parents, some of the challenges, and the music, of course, being first and foremost to create that autumnal feeling. Another record that I think really suits the autumnal kind of theme would be The Blue Nile and Hats. This is very 80s sounding, but it's a melancholic kind of synthetic or synthesizer based in many ways music, and perfect for autumnal listening for sure. You might look at, if you don't know this album very well, Headlights on the Parade, Saturday Night. Just that kind of melancholia that is wonderful in the autumn. Sometimes a autumn or a record that presents itself as autumnal, maybe when you actually started listening to it. So when I went from grade 12, I was living in Toronto, in Ottawa, and then my family moved to Toronto in grade 13. And I was there about 2 months early because I wanted to start my last year of high school before the family was scheduled to move. So I stayed with some family friends. And this record came out, and Al Stewart's Year of the Cat. And this record, for me, still holds up. You can see I don't have my original copy, but I got this Mo-Fi recording. Beautifully recorded, great stories, like, you know, great tales of history, you know, Lord Granville and things like that. I don't know if I've got that right, but, and the title track as well. I think this is a great autumnal record. Another band that I would say is very autumnal in nature, and I'll pick this particular album, it's The Band. So we've got Northern Lights, Southern Cross, and songs like Acadian Driftwood, and It Makes No Difference. Those to me are perfect autumn records or songs. Ambient can be very autumnal, I think, by nature, and I would say this David Sylvian release, Gone to Earth, it's got a synchronicity with autumnal weather here on the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, lots of rain. And so David Sylvian's Gone to Earth, just a beautiful record to listen to in the autumn. I don't know why, but I find that ballads and the beautiful sounds here of Coltrane, McCoy Tyner, and Jimmy Garrison, Elvin Jones, this is a gorgeous sounding record. You could call it a romantic record, but it's slow pace, it's gentle, dulcimer tones. For me, is All Autumn on Impulse. Another one that I would say is a really appropriate autumnal record would be Keith Jarrett's The Colton Concert. The beginning of this as well, just the beautiful space, the piano playing off that famously out of tune, kind of broken piano, so exquisitely played by Keith Jarrett. This to me is a soundtrack for autumn, no question about it. Another one, you know, if you think about sort of melancholic and beautiful storytelling and songwriting and things like that, then, you know, you sort of think, well, what Dylan album would cover that? And I think Blood on the Tracks is a great one for that. I've been really enjoying listening to this double LP, which is a condensed version of the Bootleg Series Volume 14 from Blood on the Tracks. And this record, this is a 2 LP set. And what I love about this, not only does it feel very autumnal to me in the storytelling of relationship, relationship that's gone bad. Mine's been like Verlaine's and Rimbaud's, so very poetic, but also relationships that he goes into different tenses, past, present, and future. And just a gorgeous storyteller. What I love about this is that most, if not all of these tracks are not on the original Blood on the Tracks. So when you know a record as well as most of us know Blood on the Tracks, it's really great to hear a whole record of different versions of that. This is from the first 4 days of the New York sessions, was available, I think, mostly on a bootleg that I had, and now here on vinyl, which is great. I'm going to say talk, both Laughing Stock, Spirit of Eden. These really have to go together. The space, the atmosphere that's created, just fantastic. Ricky Lee Jones, Pirates. I could almost pick any Ricky Lee Jones record. She's a great storyteller. Lots of characters that she develops, almost like she's a fiction writer. And again, you know, in the autumn, you sort of imagine having more time to sit and listen and go deep into the character development and the narratives that someone like Ricky Lee Jones creates. Fantastic. And finally, this could be autumn, this could be winter, but it sure ain't spring and it sure ain't summer. And that's Closer, Joy Division. This one, you know, when you think of the first one, Unknown Pleasures, it's got an edge to it, and it's, to me, like a perfect post-punk record. This one's got a lot more, I don't know what you would say, melancholy, less edge and more dirge. And what says autumn better than dirge? Not much to look at on the backside, but this is my original UK copy of Joy Division's Closer. So those are some autumnal choices that I have. I would love for this to become a thread and hear what other people consider to be great autumn records. Carpe diem, motherfuckers.